Thank you very much, David. I've been called many things in my time, but never the Bishop Tutu for the environment. I might add, however, that I've been called a Tutu lookalike, and this is a burden one has to bear at security checkpoints, in restaurants, even at the United Nations security offices. Excuse me, sir, are you related to Dr. Tutu, Archbishop Tutu? Well, I think that's one of the rather remarkable challenges of such a designation. It provides me, at least, with a new layer of sanctity. I can go around pretending that or, as you can consider the sort of missionary for the environment, that's not a bad designation, David. I wouldn't mind being designated the missionary for the oceans, because I think the oceans need both champions and missionaries, and I think this may not be a bad way to begin. So, from that point of view, one would be very tempting to accept this designation. But quite seriously, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really here this afternoon to listen and to learn about what seemed like a most exciting venture, a venture of both discovery and recovery. And David, I think you set the stage for us quite clearly, because the ignorance level is really quite remarkable, and we really have to rediscover the oceans at this time and its meaning. I'm also very excited by the challenge that you've set ourselves, is that how to restore the ocean ecosystems as a human responsibility. This has both ethical, because after all, much of the damage is caused by us, and very practical. Our survival would seem to be dependent on it. And for that reason, I have three impressions. I will not pretend to know the scientific and technological details of this venture, but I have some impressions. And my first impression is that how can we use the oceans to address the climate challenge? I come from the environment community, and I know that many of our responses have been land-based. We look at the global environmental crisis, the impending crisis, and we try to see how we might be able to address them, but quite often from a land-based perspective. As a matter of fact, one of the major programs that the United Nations now has is a global program of action for the protection of the marine environment from land-based sources. And it would seem to me that what you're offering here is a counterpart piece. The global program of action for the protection of the marine environment from human and other activities, that is ocean restoration. So I have the global program of action for the restoration of the marine environment, instead of protection from land-based sources. I think that's a very important consideration. Secondly, I'm here because I think we need to give the oceans a larger public face, and you have stated that very well. If this is indeed the source of all life on Earth, if in the Earth wheel of life the oceans provide the balance, why is it not more prominently featured in the global argument? And that's something that I feel that this is extremely important, and that this program would tend to give the ocean its proper place in meeting the challenge. And thirdly, we are here to look at the oceans as a vital ecosystem and what we humans can do to protect it. I'm very excited at the way you're planning to do this. You're planning to engage the private sector by using market-based approaches. If the Earth is a human enterprise, then maybe it's timely for us to see how can the market be used to address this. And I'm very excited that this approach is being practiced now, because I think it ties in with one of the major developments at the UN. Public-private partnerships has now become, if not a mantra, a direction in which the United Nations is moving. Many of you may recall that some years ago, Kofi Annan invited the corporate community to join in a global compact for the new millennium. And that's working. He was quite amazed by the response that the private sector made to this challenge. He did it at Davos about 6 years ago. And now that program is working. So the public-private partnership is now beginning to take hold at the United Nations. And my hope is that we would be able to show the business community that there are interests that can be protected, and they can become champions for the ocean. My program, the United Nations Environment Program, has long seen the value of private-public partnership. We were among the first within the UN community to create the Industry Environment Program in Paris in 1974. And that is work, but we have still not developed an oceans relations that is important. And finally, I think we need to look at how can the oceans and business work together? In many instances, we will look to the shipping, the fishing, the cruise line. In many instances, we are concerned with land-based abuse and the abuse of the oceans, but not the restoration. I think what Russ and his team are planning to do is to add a different type of relationship between business and the ocean. We need to get ocean champions from the business community. And I think the Planktos venture is a rather exciting one. I think it's a unique one, because not only are we concerned, as we are in many instances, about the abuses. Many of the convention, many of the actions, many of the concerns are concerned about the abuses, but not the restoration. And this is why I consider this project quite unique. How to restore the oceans, how to provide or to approach it from the point of view of sustainable solutions. And this is where I think this program deserves the broadest support. I'm glad to be part of this initiative, and one can only hope that at the end of the exercise, we'll have people who are concerned and are prepared to spread the word and provide the central message of the voyage of recovery and discovery. Thank you very much.
It's a wonderful thing when you have a news conference and people are moved to applaud. That is an evangelical voice. Thank you, Dr. Matt.